Hi guys, welcome back to the Healthy Pod. I am so excited to chat with you guys today. As I was thinking about, what to kind of chat about, I feel like we've had some major pop culture moments over the last little bit. And I know it's not necessarily all about health, but I wanted to talk about the perspective of some of the things that are happening now in culture, particularly for women over 40 and how we're kind of looked at. I feel like there is this wave of information, and maybe that's just the algorithm that I'm on, but there's this wave of information about perimenopause and menopause and looking great over 40. And I see these comparisons of like, this is what the Golden Girls look like, and J-Lo is the same age, and like, look at that difference. So there's this massive set of also expectations on what a woman 40, 50, 60 should look like. And so that's something that I feel like we need to tackle because there are so many heavy issues, but also light issues that are really fun. And so when I think about women who are kind of like taking their power back or their power never left, Bethenny Frankel is definitely one of them. I love her right now. She's definitely having a moment. Like, I follow her on social and I love that she's so unapologetic and fierce and, so firm in her perspectives and like doesn't give a shit. And one day she can be full on glam. And then the next day she looks like she just woke up and like rolled out of bed and hair's kind of crazy, but like she doesn't care what anyone thinks. And for me, I think that is power and that is freedom. And that is a place that I want to get to. Like, when I think about filming on social or going on social, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't do my hair today, and I don't do my hair most days. And I will tell you that after I work out, my hair is like a rat's nest, like it's like a bird's nest. I don't even know what happened. And it is all sweaty and gross. And like, we're in Florida and I work out outside most of the time, especially in the summer. It is so hot. It is so humid. So literally it looks like my hair, it just like went through the shower, but not combed at all. And I actually wish I could just go on camera looking like shit and like barefaced, no makeup, no whatever filter, and be okay with it. Like, that's the freedom that I want. And so when I watch her, I am just like in awe of how comfortable she is in any shape that she's kind of in, whether it's no makeup, no hair, or like full glam. And she is like completely unapologetic about it. And then I kind of wanted to talk about the fact that, there were so many things that happened this summer, whether it was the Bezos wedding or the Sweeney viral American Eagle thing that happened. And I want to know what you guys think about it. I will tell you what I think about it. But that's kind of like some of the things I wanted to tackle and talk about. And the first thing, I wanted to say, and the reason I thought about Bethenny Frankel was because she walked in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit runway walk here in Miami. And it was something that felt not controversial to me at all. Like, she's a public figure, she's got a kick-ass body, she looks amazing, and she walked the runway. But apparently it was a thing, and everyone was, all crazy because she was a certain age and she wore like something that exposed her bum, and it was a thong or whatever bathing suit, but she looked freaking amazing. So who cares what bathing suit she wore? And if the expectation is that at 40 and 50 and 60, we need to look like Jennifer Lopez, but we can't go and walk on the freaking runway without someone talking about the fact that this is how old we are and this is how exposed we were. Like, that's ridiculous. So I love that she walked the runway so glamorously and so beautifully, and she was so confident about it. And I loved that it looked like she was having the best time ever. And honestly, if someone asked me, I would freaking do it too. Like, I don't think it's a big deal. And I feel like the media made it a big deal. So for me, that runway walk was definitely a statement of feeling comfortable in your own skin, no matter what age you are. And also the fact that you don't have to still be 20 to be a model. You can be whomever you want to be. And I feel like she took that to the whole next level with her, supermodel snacks and all this kind of stuff. So I feel like she took the moment and she went with it. And, if anyone knows good marketing, it's Bethenny Frankel. So she did a kick-ass job. And so I want to know what you guys think about this person and her swimsuit moment on the Sports Illustrated stage. I love the honesty. I feel like I'm going to do an honest review of her skinny girl dressings because I actually used to run the dressings category for Kraft, which was like a few $100 million business. And so I was doing like innovation on dressings and I was doing low-cal dressings. So I feel like I would do a really good job at like a skinny girl dressing review video. So stay tuned for that. That just came to me. But I feel like I love her honesty. And like, if it's shit, she's going to tell you it's shit. And if it's amazing, she's going to tell you that. And if she went on like a shitty date with a guy, she's going to tell you that too. So for me, I actually love listening to her podcast. And I feel like I get inspired by her bravery to be like so no F's given and just like so honest. And I'm going to try my best to break free of some of the stigma that I have around showing up on social media and trying to look my best because, I feel like we all have this fear of, whatever we post, it feels like this, the best moments of our lives. And it's only a few moments and a few details of some of the most amazing glimpses into our lives. But in reality, like, and 24/7, I am in my workout gear ready to go running or do Pilates or go for a walk and put on my weighted vest. Like I am not, doing my hair or doing my makeup or, wearing a cute outfit every day. I am wearing like workout clothes. And when I do get to dress up, it's really nice. And I love to, post that online, but I need to get more comfortable just like having messy hair and no makeup and going online and being like, hi, everyone, this is me in my everyday life. So that is like the first thing I wanted to talk about. And I think culturally, we just need to maybe flip the script. And I think there are so many people that are starting to do that. There are so many women that grew up in this generation of, skinnier is better, smaller is better. And, as we evolve and, grow older and have children, our bodies change. But I think the expectation on what our bodies should look like hasn't changed. And I think maybe culturally we're catching up. But at the same time, I feel like there are so many things that we're not catching up on. So the thing that I wanted to talk about also was this Sydney Sweeney viral American Eagle jeans campaign and the brand backlash. So when I saw the ad, and because I also know, like I could see the brief from American Eagle to their creative agency. I could see their creative agency coming back and proposing the campaign and what it would look like. And I can tell you probably with 99 to 100% certainty that not one single person in that room, agency or American Eagle as the client, no one thought about race when they proposed the campaign. People were like, she's hot, she's sexy, she's blonde, she's all American. Let's put her in some sexy jeans and we're going to sell some jeans. Because at the end of the day, what they are thinking about is their revenue goals and their sales goals. And that's what they need to do. They need to compete with Levi's, who has Beyonce. And Beyonce's singing about Levi's jeans. And she's wearing them. And then she's singing about them in her Cowboy Carter crazy tour. So when you think about the competition, they need to outsell the competition. So they took this beautiful woman, put her in some awesome jeans, And that's it. So to have people, think about this as anything other than that is honestly just wild. It was a play on words. I don't think there was anything malicious about the intent of the campaign, and it was spinning. And you know what? I'm actually happy that American Eagle stocks are up, and I'm happy that there are so many people supporting the brand, and I myself support the brand. My husband was like, I'm going to buy American Eagle boxers because they're my favorite anyways, and I'm going to support the brand. So at the end of the day, I feel like we're taking certain things way too seriously. Why is it such a big deal that a woman who is over 50 walked the Sports Illustrated runway? Why is it such a big deal that a beautiful blonde girl was a model for a jean company? And by the way, has anyone seen on Instagram the comparison of Beyonce's Levi's ad and Sydney Sweeney's American Eagle ad? They are virtually the same, but no one said boo about Beyonce's ad, right? So I don't know, maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but it just feels like we're taking things a little bit too far. Just saying. So while I say that, let's take a word from our sponsors. All right. So I know I definitely have my perspectives, particularly when it comes to marketing, simply because I know what goes on in those rooms. I know what goes on in a creative presentation. And I'm so happy that American Eagle kind of clapped back with a statement as well that was kind of cheeky and on brand, and all American too. And what I've noticed is that there are so many companies leaning into the all American, and I kind of love it. And it's a lot of car companies too. And unfortunately, it's kind of bad marketing because I think it was GMC and Dodge Ram, the two ads that I saw that were like leaning into Americana and history and all American, but they're so similar that I could barely tell them apart. So that's not necessarily great from a campaign perspective. But what I can tell is that there's this cultural shift of American pride, and I am so here for it, even though I am Canadian born. I am so excited to get our green card. I know a lot of you know that we are in the middle of getting our green card, and it should be arriving, I think, this quarter, hopefully, fingers crossed. So we're so excited about that. But for a Canadian, I'm pretty damn proud to be in America and be in the process of becoming a citizen, which is going to be so much fun. So I'm excited for that. Whenever someone asks my husband if, he ever wants to go back, or he's like, absolutely not. We are never coming back. And I can't even tell you how many people actually call us to get our perspective on, moving and living here and starting over and having kids go to a new school. But we highly recommend it to everyone. So I am all about the Americana thing happening. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about from a pop culture perspective was this Bezos wedding. And I feel like there was just so much coverage. And again, I feel like it's this opportunity where you can like blast everything about it or love everything about it. There was nothing in between. It looked like, the ultimate fairy tale wedding. It was in Venice. Her dress was Dolce. She had $30 million of jewelry on her. She was literally like the fantasy bride. Something I did want to talk about was the guest list, because I feel like weddings, they're so intimate and important, and it shouldn't be necessarily, in my opinion, about the show of it all. It should be about family and love and connection. But this guest list was like the Met Gala, people. Like, it was crazy. And so one of my thoughts was, are they having like a board meeting so that this could be a complete write-off because it's really expensive? And another one of my thoughts was like, is this just about name dropping for a guest list that's like the Met Gala, but they don't really know, or they're not really friends with any of these people? So I would like to be a fly on that wall just to understand, how did they decide on the guest list? Are they really friends with all these people? Is it going to be a tax write-off? I'm sure it is. And how is that all kind of going down? I know there were lots of people that had very particular opinions because it was in Venice. And I know Venetians were protesting, and the city is in this spin of, it's sinking. There are too many tourists. And it was a challenging place to have the wedding. But it was really, really beautiful, I'm sure. But it was a lot. And it was so incredibly curated. Like every moment, every photo op was the absolute antithesis of authenticity. So for anyone who's looking to build a relationship with either Sanchez or Bezos, like that's going to be really hard because they are not authentically like your next door neighbor. And you can't really shoot the shit with them. Whereas Bethenny and like has this raw authenticity. And, she talks about like going to Cannes on a yacht and eating caviar for breakfast. But for some reason, there's this like really interesting authenticity where you could just like shoot the shit with her and she could be your best friend. And like, shout out Bethenny, I want to be your best friend. I want to chat with you because I just relate to you so much. But both fuel culture so incredibly differently. And I think they impact, how we feel about health as well, right? Like we think about Bethenny and her supermodel snacks and getting ready for Sports Illustrated and working out and being healthy and walking and also doing what's right for you versus, having, all the work done to your face, which I am not against, to be clear. Like, let's go, Botox and fillers. I'm happy with that. But also that tiny little waist at the wedding and just like looking so perfect and airbrushed. So the cultural difference of how they both show up is so incredibly interesting to me. So I would love to hear your opinion about kind of culturally what's happening. But I think, in my opinion, authenticity rules, which is why I'm definitely going to try and show up as authentically as I can. If I'm wearing makeup or not, if I'm dressed up or not, I'm going to, enter the chat, enter the villa. So that's another thing that happened culturally. And I feel like it was bigger than ever. Love Island was all the rage. At first, I was resisting. I wasn't going to watch. And then I got into it. And then I was like, okay, I get it. I know why people love this. And for me, because I was off social, I had just heard some podcasts speak about it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna not. And then I did. And of course, I binge watched quite a bit of it. And I love this idea of escapism, but I got sucked in for sure. But what I don't love is this culture of, I want to say it's not necessarily intimacy, but like seeing people like make out with 100 people. Sure, that's amazing entertainment and great TV, but raising a teenage daughter and a teenage son soon enough, he's turning 12 in a week. It's really hard to explain because that's part of pop culture. Like Mia has seen episodes, or I'm sure she watched the whole season of Love Island, and to show young kids that it is culturally acceptable to, go kissing 100 people in a room at the same time is a little bit challenging for me as a parent to watch and to explain too. And, there's this understanding from teenagers who are very mature and they're exposed to a lot that it's something that just people do for entertainment, for ratings, for TV, for, gossip and chatter and people to talk about it the next day after an episode or a few episodes air. But there's also this signal of like, that's something that is normal in society. And is that something that would be expected of a guy or a girl if they're kind of, dating people not so seriously? So I think we, sometimes need to have effective conversations. I don't necessarily think we can change the entertainment industry, whether it's like The Bachelor or Perfect Match or, Love Island or any of these shows. But I think it's worthwhile having the conversation with the new young generation about what they feel comfortable with and what is socially acceptable can be two different things. And, we consistently have conversations about, not doing anything that you don't feel comfortable doing, whether that's, kissing someone or whether that's, drugs or alcohol or anything in between, just because there's peer pressure to do that. And so I think peer pressure has existed for eons, but now with social media, it's taken such a different level. And I think there's kind of the two spectrums. One spectrum is this sober, curious crowd, which I love. I love that people are curious about sobriety and not necessarily drinking. And, they're looking for a different way to kind of go out, and you don't have to get like crazy blackout drunk to have fun. So I love the sober, curious crowd of it all. But then I'm going to bring up Alex Earle, who she is so beautiful, so wonderful, but so influential. And then she'll go out and, drink to oblivion, talk about how sick she feels the next day, talk about going crazy partying. And that's something that, again, has gone on forever, but it is so incredibly glamorized that sometimes I fear my daughter going out and, doing that same thing because it's the cool thing to do, because she saw someone that she looks up to doing it. And how do I reel that in? So I do think that, some of these influencers who particularly have a younger audience, there is this important message, I think, that they need to share around being careful with substances and being, that drunk and partying that hard, because there are so many people who are very much influenced by what they do, and they might even be underage, and it's not a healthy vision for what my daughter's future could look like, particularly as we start thinking about, her going away to university and partying in university and following in the footsteps of someone who's so influential, but who doesn't necessarily share the best part of it. So, no hate, no judgment, more worry from my end as a parent, and how to appropriately talk to our children about what's kind of going on in social media, whether that's, being a little bit more promiscuous, or whether that's, getting drunk or anything in between. I think it's just so important to recognize that it's happening and have the open conversations and lay the ground rules, and also know what is going to get kids in trouble versus where they can actually go out, have fun in a safe and, protected way. So that's something that's been on my mind a lot. I'd love to hear your take on it. I'd love to hear, teenagers' take on it too. I know some of my daughter's friends listen to this podcast, but also their parents listen to this podcast. So it would be interesting to understand where everyone's head is at when it comes to some of this stuff that is so prevalent in pop culture. And, I know that there are so many thoughts around social media, whether they should have it, whether they shouldn't have it. But it is part of everyday life. It's part of our culture. It's part of the generation and the day we live in. So I don't necessarily think taking it all away or never giving them access to social media is necessarily feasible. Like, for some people up to a certain age, of course, they don't have social, they don't watch the videos, they don't get exposed to it. But even if they're not exposed to it on their phone, is it guaranteed that they're not watching their friend's phone, or they're not getting it some other way, or they're not concealing it? So at the end of the day, they're going to be exposed to it. So it's, my opinion, better to have conversations with them, better to understand where they're coming from and really listen and not judge, and then share where you're coming from. We have those conversations all the time. And I do feel like sharing perspectives and worries and fears, and also where we feel like it's okay to do certain things is really, really important, because it's never going to be a be all and end all. And it's a give and take. And, you know, our young teenagers are growing up and they need to be responsible adults. So we need to kind of show them the way and lead by example as well. So that is some of my thoughts on some of the things going on in pop culture. I feel like I veered a little bit. I know that, you know, we've been talking about different things, whether you're walking the runway at like 40 or 50, or like really body positive, or just free like Bethenny, or you're surviving mean moms at school pickup, or just trying to pay for groceries while Jeff Bezos is like literally buying Venice for a weekend for his wedding. At the end of the day, the takeaway is it's really your own story. And all of these things are, you know, kind of fun to watch, but also sometimes cautionary. And sometimes we need to bring these things up at the dinner table and chat about them and get the perspective of everyone, so that we can open up and have these real powerful conversations about stuff that can be pop culture, but also can be really meaningful in our lives. So it really is interesting to see how people show up. But I think the best advice I have, or the things that I take away from pop culture, is showing up authentically as yourself is so important in this day and age. Setting appropriate boundaries for yourself is critically important. And if you're a teen listening to this, or someone who is just getting into, you know, going to school away or living alone, setting up boundaries for yourself, whether that's intimate boundaries or substance boundaries or anything in between, I think it's really, really important to set those boundaries and stick to them, and not be ashamed to not go the way of what's popular and do what's right for yourself. That's something that I teach my kids all the time. I'm always say, it's not about what's cool. It's about what you think is cool. And if you think being sober curious is cool, that's what you should do. And if you think, you know, not going to a certain place on a Saturday night is cool, that's what you should do. So whatever it is that you think is cool and right for you is what you should be doing, versus following the crowd. I know that's been like a lifelong lesson for so many generations, but I feel like it's so important to have those conversations, particularly now as they're exposed to way more, way earlier. We see all these girls going to Sephora and doing a full beat at like 11. At 11, I didn't know. I think I was still playing with Barbies. Like, let's be real. So I think kids are growing up really, really fast. And so what I look forward to is having some people who are parenting experts on. And this is not to preach about parenting. It's really just to learn. Because for me, I'm in this journey too. And it's the first time I'm parenting a teenager. I have a lot to learn. There are a lot of things going on. There are a lot of asks being made of me that I don't agree with, that I don't allow. And I feel like there's a way that I need to set my parenting boundaries that is appropriate for someone who's on the precipice of becoming a teenager with my son, or already in the throes of it with my daughter. So any guidance is so appreciated and so welcome. I know I've kind of been talking your ear off, so I am going to kind of sign off by saying thank you so much for listening to me rant about all different things pop culture. And if you like the pop culture chat, I'm happy to do more of these. If not, we can stick to very focused health and wellness as well. But what I am going to be doing this season is definitely talking a little bit more about parenting, about kids, about raising healthy kids, whether that's from a nourishment and nutrition perspective, or whether that's from a mental health perspective, and anything in between. So if you do have ideas for anything that you want to hear about, we will do our research. We will bring on the best guests so that you guys can be a part of the engagement that we have and the learning that we have as part of our Healthy Pod community. So if you like this episode, subscribe, let us know, and always reach out to me on social as well. And if you didn't like it, let me know too, because I can change stuff up. This is just something that has been on my mind. And for me, I I actually love social pop culture as part of social media. I've always been a pop culture junkie. I always say I wanted to be like Mary Hart and be the host of Entertainment Tonight. So it's definitely part of who I am. It's one of the facets of who I am. I'm definitely focused on health, wellness, and fitness quite a bit more, but I still am so enamored by all of it. So if you enjoy chatting about it, then this is the place for you too. Hopefully we'll see you soon, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.